Hey folks, welcome to Bear Mountain today. Today it's all about alliums. We're going to talk about the alliums, all the kinds of different things we have in the garden right now, and what we're going to do with them. Okay, so when we were in the process of recovering the garden last year from the blackberry invasion, there was a whole lot of elephant garlic that had been surviving underneath the blackberries for years. It would come up, it would propagate itself to little bulbs and then throw its seeds out everywhere. And we have a ton of volunteer elephant garlic. Now, elephant garlic is really, it's in the leek family. It's not so much, I mean, it's all allium, but it's more closely related to a leek than it is to necessarily true garlic. However, it does form big bulbs with big cloves, and those are useful. But it's also useful to use it now as a leek. When we pull these guys out, let me give you an example here. See if I can edge one of these guys out. What we have, this isn't necessarily the best example of it, but you can see it's the middle of April and it's already starting to form a little bulb, but the stalk itself all the way up to here is almost like a leek, and it's very mild and it's excellent in like making soups and things of that nature. These you plant like regular garlic. Once we get going again, we'll be planting the bulbs like regular garlic. But we can also use the leaves in salads. I mean, the leaves have a little bit of spice to them. They have a definite garlic flavor, but it's not an overwhelming garlic flavor. And they're quite crispy, leaving green marks on my teeth. But they're actually really good to eat. And this is what we're going to be using in our food dehydrator. We're going to take these leaves off these guys. We're going to harvest most of these because we have a ton of elephant garlic that we won't need all the bulbs. So we're going to take as much as we can, and that makes sense. And we're going to dry these guys up and use these as dried seasoning for all kinds of things. Okay, so these are all volunteers, really tightly grown, so they're not going to bulb up like if you really want that big elephant garlic bulb. You have to actually plant these guys spaced far enough apart, like 6 to 9 inches apart. So, and we have a bed further over there that will show you that that's exactly what we did. Those are the ones we're going to be raising for bulbs. And we have a couple of beds of these guys where they all volunteered, so we'll be harvesting those out. We're raising some kale over here for seed, and we're also still eating some of the leaves off of it. But there's also volunteer garlic in there. This place was just amazing, how prolific this elephant garlic is.
It was able to compete with the massive amounts of blackberries.
Oh yeah.
And still survive.
Yep.
Wouldn't you say some of these are more than 5 years?
We originally got elephant garlic back in the 1990s from Nichols Nursery in Albany, Oregon.
But that's not these, are they?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
I mean, we harvested so much before.
I mean, just generation after generation.
Oh, weird.
Yep. We even see it sprouting in some places where birds have taken seeds and dropped at different places on the farm. So it's naturalizing. Okay, this is our, what you'd call traditional hardneck garlic. And this is an experiment. I'm not sure how well this is going to work out. But what we did is we found some garlic in a store, organic food section of a store that we really liked. So we thought we'd try it out. Now, there's always risk to doing stuff like that there might be some diseases, virus, or something with it. I don't think these have any, because it looks like the only thing that's turning yellow on this is the older leaves that the plant is no longer using. The center of the plants look nice and green, and I think they're going to be doing okay. So we'll see how this goes and what kind of garlic we get out of it. This is traditional garlic. We didn't raise any soft neck garlic, so these are going to be all hard neck. This is elephant garlic when you plant it by the bulbs. You can see it gets a much more vigorous stalk. These guys are going to be putting out some really nice bulbs. The other thing that'll happen with elephant garlic too, when it starts to put up its seed heads, they're called scapes when they first come up before they open up. We use those in sauteing. They're really tasty. It's a very mild flavor. You cut out the top of the scape down to about 6 to 8 inches, and you can roast them with some avocado or oil like that, whatever's your favorite oil.
Olive oil.
And you roast them up, and they're very tasty. We cut the scapes off these guys because what we really want the thing to do is not make seed. We want these guys to work on making bulbs. This bed will probably be finished end of July, tops. And then it will be rotated into our fall plantings of other veg. All right, this bed is got two things going on at once. These were spring bunching onions that were planted probably in May, almost a year ago now. They went through the summer. We harvested some that we ate. These were sown in multi-cell blocks, so we put anywhere from 4 to 6 in like a cell or block, soil block. And we harvested out what we needed to make for salads. The rest we left to overwinter with the intention of getting seeds off of this. We have two distinct varieties here. This is a purple bunching onion, which I believe the varietal name is Deep Purple. Very. And these guys are going to seed now. Today there's no bee activity on them, but there were some bees, bee bopping around on them yesterday. And then this variety over here is called Guardian, and it is a regular spring green onion, bunching onion, and we're going to get some seed off of these guys. What we're trying to do is we're trying to integrate into the garden as much seed gathering as we can, partly because it's an interesting hobby, and partly I think maybe from the standpoint is we're trying to get a gardening system in here which is sustainable enough that you can really lower your costs. So any seed you don't have to buy, particularly seed that's really easy to grow, we're going to take advantage of that. So we get both out of it. We got green onions out of it, and we're going to get seed out of it. Okay, this section of the bed is different, and it's got shallots. These are, I think they're French gray shallots, and they were sown and multi-sown in a cell plug tray block. Usually it's about a 1.5 inch block, and this is what's growing in here. We do have a few weeds. Every time I look at these things I see, oh, there's a weed, I gotta get rid of it. But these guys will be ready probably, again, probably like a late July type thing. They got a lot of growing to do between now and then, but they're really starting to take off. And again, we're mid-April right now, so they're looking pretty good. Now you may say, well, what are these things in between here? Those are parsnips. And this is kind of a companion plant that works well with the onion family. And parsnips are a nice root vegetable that will be ready in fall. So these are a long growing thing. So as these guys get up to size and the shallots finish off, then the parsnips will finish off covering up the bed. We'll probably, once we harvest the shallots, just before we kind of turn it over totally to the parsnips, put a little more compost down. But this is going to be a kind of an experiment. This bed's really got pretty good soil in it, so we're anticipating that the parsnips will grow pretty well in here.
Can you explain why we aren't growing traditional onions?
The traditional bulbing onions, I guess when we look at it is like, well, we've got the elephant garlic / leek. We've got bunching onions just about all the time during the course of the year. We're going to have shallots, which are smaller than a regular onion, but much more flavorful, and there are less sugar in them. And part of it is, we're looking at types of veg that, now parsnips are going to have some sugar in them, but from an onion family standpoint, these guys will store longer because they got more oniony
Is that a
flavoring
word?
to them, if that's really a term. But the idea is the chemical that gives it the onion strong flavor is also a characteristics that help things store better. So we're trying to look at it and say, if we can have fresh all year long, either through eating various parts of the elephant garlic or the bunching onions, and then have these guys to cook with, I think it works out well. Okay, the last thing we put around the garden in the allium family is chives. Not so much really. I mean, we do use some of it in salads and things, and just as a garnish on cooking things. We have two different types. The flat leaf is a garlic flavored chives, and the round is your traditional chives. As you can see, these guys are going to put up some seed heads pretty quick. They've already got their little scapes going. I'd really, from my perspective, if we have other chives that naturalize around the place, we're not too concerned about it, unless it gets, really out of hand. These chives were started last summer by seed, and so they're actually formed a really nice plant by the asparagus, and also by a new rose that we put in here that when we rebuild the arbor, these guys are all kind of companions, so they kind of work together well. And it seems like the chives are doing well, and the rose is doing well, and our asparagus is doing well. So I think that's a win. And the nice thing about the chives is it's an early spring, so really right now is the best time to harvest and use it.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite onion in terms of it just says spring. You put it with salads and vegetables, other type of early spring vegetables, and it's just sparkles.
Yep. So you can get, these kinds of seeds. You can get them, put them in, get them started. It doesn't matter if their growth is summer. Honestly, last summer, by fall, I thought I'd killed these things.
Yeah, we thought they were dead.
They just didn't look very well at all. But all during that time underground, they were doing their little thing. And so by the springtime when they came up in the last month or so, they really just popped. So we planted these guys around all the roses.
There's roses on every side, on every
yep.
soon-to-be repaired arbor.
Right.
So there's chives at their feet.
Yep. So that's just part of what's going to be growing around the base of the plant.
Just one of many herbs that we'll have in here that make it a traditional Potager garden, which means kitchen garden, having herbs and vegetables and fruit at your disposal to cook with.
Yep. So that's just kind of a walk around Allium Alley. And I want to thank you guys for joining us today, and comments are always welcomed. And please subscribe if you like what you see. We have lots of other videos and playlists, as well as just out there on various different topics around here on the farm. And we want to hope you guys have a good day. We want to hope you have a good day. Why don't you just have a good day?
Just have a good day.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Bye.